And welcome back to The Nose Plays. I made a decision. We are not going to leave the last effort as the last video on my channel for however long it might have stayed up there. That was a brutal effort. That was probably one of the roughest starts I've ever had in a game of Endless Legend. There's just a lot of things that went wrong in that first 20 or 30 turns. And it wasn't going to get any better. So, we're going to try again. This is just going to be another one-off long play. I'll play the first 2 hours or so, see how far we get. I'm going to leave all the settings exactly the same as last time. I do like to change these colors, though. So we'll have 6 factions on normal difficulty, normal game speed, hard difficulty. This is ELCP. The latest version. With the latest version, you do get a lot more color choices in the palette because I believe it supports up to 15 players, which also allows you to have a healthy number of spectators, which is handy if you want to have spectators spectate a game. So, pretty cool. Also, I moved the chat window down here, so hopefully I'll see it a little better if anybody does happen to jump in and wants to say hi. That would be good. And I'm always happy to talk strategy, so feel free to contribute. But yeah, not much else. I just didn't want that video of such a... the Vaulters should never struggle that badly. They are fated for greater things, so we will do our best to make sure that we live up to that standard this time around. The lava territory is what really messed us over in that last game. Having a lava river that basically completely segregated us off from the map, and then repeatedly losing health to all my units every time we walked over it. I did my best. I even got boats, and the one time I got boats, apparently even the coastal regions where the lava dumps off will damage you. And I damaged my units and killed somebody anyways, trying to avoid the lava. So it was just a rough start. And like I said, as hemmed in as we were, it probably wasn't going to get any better. I did have a plan going forward. I think the plan was to try to make peace with the roving clans who were to the north of us and could potentially help stave off the necrophage, and then try to start a war with the ardent mages that were to the west of us. But it was going to be very difficult, just because every single time we try to cross that river of lava, we're going to get dinged for 25% of our health, and it is a percent health damage. So it doesn't matter what level your units are or how much gear you equip on them, they're always going to die or take a huge amount of damage. So it looks like we have another pink Draken player in this game, and I'm wondering, we didn't roll like the exact same map, did we? This is different, right? Yeah, this looks different. It has to be different because we actually started with Glasssteel. Which is awesome. We had a really tough starting territory. We had a bad minor faction. We had no luxury resources, no strategic resources. It took us to turn 2 to find a good settle, and it wasn't even a great settle. No dust. I mean, it was just brutal. Brutal start. Jodis is a pretty bad starting faction for us. The only good side to the Jodis is they're pretty easy for us to beat in a fight, straight up, even without a village. And I'm not seeing a lot of good settle spots. I see one potential spot. This is an inland water, so let's zoom out. Okay, so you can see we're kind of closer to the northern border than we are to the southern one this time. So there's probably not a lot of territory north of us. And these are all probably inland waters, so these are lakes. You will not be able to build boats on them, or cargo docks for that matter. The next thing that I notice is we've got a nice wall or ridge right here, which kind of sucks in terms of us trying to get to this temple ruin on this turn. We might be able to do it with one of our marines, but I don't. Yeah, the moving through the forest is going to slow us down too much, so we're not going to get there till turn 2. So with that being the case, let's just send one out this way. Okay, so it looks like, oh, that was really fast. So it looks like our territory goes a little bit further over here and a little bit further up this way. This is going to be a situation where I'm probably going to end up settling over here, and I'm going to find a spot on the other end of my territory that's way better than anything that I actually was able to uncover on this turn. And starting right in the middle of the forest really kind of sucks, because it just completely hamstrings our movement. I'm probably going to send my hero south to try to get a little bit more intel that direction. Not that we're actually going to uncover anything of value. Well, yeah. Okay, let's take a look at what we got going on here. And once again, we started in a territory with no dust, or at least very little near us. There's a little bit of dust over here because of the water, and you can actually get a little bit of dust here too, it looks like, from that anomaly. You can actually enhance that with a few building upgrades, but yeah, this is kind of bleak. Also, not a lot of science over here that we can really take great advantage of, and science is what we get an extra boost off of. Yeah. So, the only real positive I see about this territory is the area is pretty solid in terms of building a reasonably good triangular city. You could also build a pretty good stick city, although over here we got a mountain range. You could go this way with it, but then you got the waters kind of messing you up. So yeah, like a 4-tile triangular city would be pretty solid, which means that we probably just start in the center of that. Take advantage of this. This is... that's a terrible start. That's worse than the start that we had before. So yeah, up here's a lot better. There must be another anomaly up there or something, because we're losing tiles, but the numbers on that are just way better. Yeah, I don't know. 8, 9, 9, and 13. 8 and 4 is okay. I'm halfway tempted to just try to move into another territory. The problem is we can't really make it in one turn. Well, that tile. Yeah. Alright. Let's take another turn. Let's get some more intel. And then we'll settle here if we can't find a better spot. That's not a great settle because of the mountain range, but again, we can make a really long stick-shaped city that will be pretty reasonable in the end game if we have to. Ugh, that's going to take a lot of dust. Boy, that's just bad. Alright. Let's get you over here and see what we got going on over here. The cliffs are really kind of impeding our vision quite a bit. I can get some pretty good intel this direction. This is a pretty large territory. Alright, that'll give us another turn to goof around if we want. We found these guys. Their bonus, if you get enough villages, isn't actually that bad. I kind of like it sometimes for some factions. Our faction doesn't really benefit that much from it because our hero starts with the movement on our early levels. So our first army is pretty mobile, plus all of the other teleportation shenanigans we get. Okay, so now it's decision time. Do we take the 13-13-8-4 or do we look for something better? I don't think there's anything better. I'm not a fan of this start. But this is 2 games in a row. We've had a pretty rough start. It's fine. Maybe our second city. Yeah, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We could have 16 districts in this city with very, very few penalties for growth. And I'll try to remember to explain how that works when we start building boroughs, but if you've played the game much, you probably know why triangles and sticks are the 2 best ways to build cities. If you haven't, just keep that in mind. Okay, now that we have a city, let's get this built, and we'll go for growth for a little bit. Maybe the first 10 turns or so we'll focus on growth over this, so I have population pips, so that mid-game, early mid-game, I can move things around to get what I need, whether it's dust or industry, whatever. I like to move these up just so I have more room. And we're going to have to... Well, actually, our dust isn't terrible this turn. But we're probably going to have to collapse our hero into one of these 2 armies. I'm thinking, well, they're both actually pretty close to a scoutable ruin. So we'll just see. Okay, research. We got to pick a research. And almost always the first thing you should research is Mill Foundry, with very, very few exceptions. The biggest exception would be if you have a fair amount of industry, like we did last time, but you were completely missing another resource. That's going to hamstring you if you don't deal with it right away. And even then, it's questionable. The other thing that you could do is parlay. Language Square allows you to parlay And search is pretty bad. It's really hard to assess the value of this skill. There was a mod I saw that made this skill a lot more interesting. I can't remember exactly what it added to it, but I think it was plus vision or plus movement. But it just added a little bit more utility, and I'm not sure if it applied to all of your armies or only armies led by a hero. But whatever the case, it made things a lot more useful. It made the skill reasonably useful, especially for some factions and in some circumstances. As it is, I think it's a terrible skill that you should pretty much never take. I think I'm going to language square first. We got 5 turns before we can get this built. It'll probably be more like 4, because in 2 turns we're going to get another population pip, although I'm probably not going to put it over here, so I guess that really won't matter. But this will be done in 4 turns, so we'll get this done and we can start researching something else. Does anybody have movement? Doesn't look like it. All my units have used up all their movement. Yep. Okay. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next turn. Alright, 15 titanium. If we can get a minor faction pacified, which we will be doing. I want to finish scouting my own region before I do too much else. So I'm probably going to bring the hero over here and scout that with her. But until I do that, I want to see if there's anything else I can do. Alright, so there's 2 villages down here. We can move to there. That gives us a little bit of intel to the south. I'll go ahead and move him as far as we can and get as much vision as we can. Alright, we found Green's border. We don't know who they are yet. And then before I search this ruin, I'm going to assign the hero to that army so that the hero gets the XP. Public library gives us aqua ballistics. There is a little chunk of river right here and a couple inland waters that we might hit. But for this particular region, this skill is not very useful. We will definitely build a public library, so that will get done. I guess the one thing is, does it have like a... Yeah, it doesn't have a turn timer. So we don't have to do this in the next 20 turns, it's just whenever it gets done, which is the best kind of quest for just forgetting about it. We did find the Ursers. These are one of my favorite minor factions for the Vaulters. They provide a really reasonable frontline defender. This kind of replaces your, I think it's your tier 3 military unit. The Rumbler's pretty good in that role. Big bruiser, big tank, can soak a lot of damage, can keep your ranged units defended, but more importantly, they add production to your cities the more villages you assimilate. And since production is one of the most important stats, particularly in the early game, this might be the faction that we try to grab. Unfortunately, they are going to be to the east of us, which is going to put us directly in conflict with green. Maybe a bit sooner than I want. Also, of note, a gold deposit, which reduces city upkeep, and is a luxury resource which we can mine immediately as the Vaulters, but we have to claim that region first. So that's probably not going to happen, but knowing that there's gold around here is good information. Usually if there's one deposit of a luxury resource, there's usually a couple of the same type nearby. Not always, but we might find one maybe even in this region here. So, and then this unit hasn't moved yet, so we'll go ahead and move them. I'm going to move them down one first. And we're going to grab that, get nothing. And I think this army is going to kind of loop around this way, and this army can sort of loop around this way, and we'll meet back up over here. So we'll just send him out this way, I think. Yeah, let's try to avoid the trees so we can get a little bit more movement. This is a... Yeah, this is looking like an interesting tile for settlement. We were actually really close to this region. We definitely could have made that in 2 turns if I'd uncovered this a little sooner. Let's take a look at what the rest of the tiles look like, though. Not a lot of dust, but a fair amount of science and some approval, and then a fair amount of food and industry. Dust is probably going to be an issue again. Although, to be fair, I think we did well with our dust situation last game, where we were able to get a hero pretty early, which I don't always pull off. In fact, that almost hurt us more than it helped us in some ways, because that hero was costing a significant amount of upkeep, and I just didn't have a great way to pay him. But it was definitely helping our production. Okay, is there anything else I need to do? We don't have any boosters we can pop. I think all of our units have moved, so yeah, on to the next turn. Alright, so we've finally got our extra population pip. We'll get another one in 5 turns. This will be done in 3 turns. This will be done in 2 turns. Let's see if we can't accelerate that a little bit. So now they'll both be done in 2 turns. And I think what I'll do is I'll put the overflow into our settler that we're going to need to build eventually anyways, and get that started, but we probably won't finish it. I'll probably move something else in the queue ahead of it eventually. In fact, if I'm going to do that, I might as well do this, I think. I guess the other option is I could throw it there and just build a little bit of dust in case we want to buy something out or purchase some upgrades. I'm not seeing a lot of temple ruins that we can scout for money right now. Maybe we'll get lucky and find some here soon, but until we do, maybe that's probably best. And 2 turns we'll have language square and we can start parlaying with these guys. Maybe get some good quests. Let's kind of keep our movement short. I like to just move like barely to the edge of my vision so that I can see if there's a better tile that I need to move into. So I could loop around, but I'll risk running into those guys, or we could just cut back this way, which is probably the safer bet. One thing that I haven't looked at yet is this, and this is actually really good. So when you have your first territory in particular, but also if you ever settle another territory later on, if you have not uncovered all the tiles in that territory, one little tip that's really, really helpful is up here, there will be question marks for anything that you haven't uncovered. So in this region, we actually have 2 more deposits of something. They could be luxury resources, they could be strategic resources. We might have started in a really lucky tile with both glass, steel, and titanium. We could have gold, we could have wine, It could be any of those things. And then also any villages that you haven't uncovered will show up as question marks. So if you have a village, a 3-village region that you settle, and you've only uncovered one of the villages, you'd see 2 question marks up here for the other 2 villages that you still need to find. So this can be really helpful and help you prioritize whether or not you need to uncover the rest of that region ASAP, or whether it's semi-irrelevant in the short term. Alright, so we were going to loop this guy back around that way, which means we don't want to end up down below this cliff. So we're just going to head here. Gildaris, a cavalry unit. Cavalry units are actually pretty helpful as a military unit for the Vaulters. They can sort of double as a front line. But there's a strategy that you can use with them that's really neat that I've been practicing with. And if we get our cavalry unit, either through these guys or our own, I'll try to demonstrate how it works. It basically is a way to maximize your reinforcement slots. That probably gives you a big clue. Okay. So see, for my movement, I could move all the way to here, but if there was, say, a ruin over here to search, we wouldn't be able to move back to it. But if I only move to this tile for the first part of my movement, I can see what's ahead of me. We could go out a little wider. Yeah, let's go out a little wider. Okay. So we found Blue's territory, and we found 2 more unspoiled ruins, so that'll be good. I wanted to finish uncovering our territory, so let's... Okay, so we found the other 2. So we do have a gold deposit, and we do have a second glass steel deposit. That almost certainly means that we will be going glass steel for our primary resource, since we have 2 deposits right away. I think one thing that might benefit us is to go ahead and get that gold extractor up ASAP. If we get it up fast enough, we might be able to pop a booster just a little bit quicker. Alright, and then that means that the rest of this is semi-irrelevant. Like, yeah, we need to uncover it, but we're not going to find anything really useful from uncovering it. So we're mainly heading this direction now, more to meet back up with this army. We did find a temple ruins here, and we also found the eyeless ones, which are a pretty bad support unit, but their villages do provide approval, which can be beneficial to some factions. Sisters of Mercy. Where were they at? Oh, they were over here? Yeah. I don't really care for the Sisters of Mercy. They are the canon minor faction for the Vaulters. If you've played Endless Space 2, you know a little bit about that. Alright, so this will be the turn that we'll get Language Square done, which means we can actually talk to any of these ones that are around us. We need to get rid of these guys here pretty soon before they start spawning military units. Alright, let's go ahead and get that next, and then that is going to be really important to rush because we have 2 of these. We can get a lot of resources if we can get that built before winter. If we have an early winter, it's just not going to happen. We can move to here though. And parlay, what are they wanting? Okay, so we have to go fight the Ursers. We get 80 dust if we do. There's little chance of us being able to fight the Ursers right now with the strength of my army. I can go ahead and reach this. Okay. And our hero leveled up. So go ahead and give her the extra point of movement. And then I wanted to inspect here. So she is 2 turns away from being able to reassign. Hero juggling is one way to maximize your XP gains. So one of the ways that you might hero juggle is you would grab as many of the immediate spoils or temple ruins as you could, and then find as many as you can over here with your other army on a different side of the map. And then once your hero timer is up and you've collected as many as you can, bounce your hero to the other army using the hero teleportation thing, which is kind of wonky, but that's how the game is built, so that's how we view it. And then it allows you to get all of the XP for these. The downside to that is if you wait, there's a good chance that other units might search these first. And I don't exactly know what the effect of having an enemy unit search it first is. I think you just have the potential for lower rewards. But that is one way that you can get a little bit of extra XP on your hero. So we could come back here and talk to that, or we could go out this way, which I think I'm going to do this. And we'll go ahead and grab that one. And then maybe move one more that direction, and then we'll move back to get this one and start heading this direction. And I may or may not bounce this hero over here before we get this. But we'll see. I'm not 100% sure whether I want to do that yet. We have at least one turn to figure it out. This should be done very soon. 4 turns, the mill foundry will be ready to build. We definitely want to shave maybe a turn off of that. I really kind of want to move you back over here, but maybe we just do that instead. Those are still both 4 turns, so but that gives us another population pip in 4 turns as well. So okay. So now, okay. Now we know who's over here and who is blue. We're not going to do much. We are going to send her down here. Search that, get some more dust. And then we'll go parlay with this next turn. This unit can make it to that tile. And we're going to do a little trick. We're going to go ahead and search this. And then I'm going to go ahead and queue up movement orders to get us as far away. Yeah. As far away from this army as I can. And as I end my turn, I'm going to queue up those orders so that as soon as my turn engages, this unit will move. This is an ELCP quality of life edition that was added, and I'm very grateful that it was added. So it's one of the best things. Instead of having to mash this button to get your units to move, you simply, well, let's just make sure we're done with our turn before we do that. Not seeing anything of note, so we'll just push this once. And then as soon as that highlights, I click it 1 time. And as soon as my turn engages, all of my units that have orders queued will automatically move to those locations. So I don't actually need to mash the button like you did in vanilla, which is nice. I could bribe this, but I'm just going to parlay because quests are usually good. Return when we're ready to give them 50 dust. Well, we have the 50 dust, but I have other desires for it. What faction is this, and are we maybe considering... Yeah, this is the Sisters of Mercy faction. I don't know that we're really considering settling that territory next. I think the territory that we're probably going to settle next is this one, because this was pretty solid. That's another Jodis there. Rivers are pretty good for resources if you get the upgraded buildings, which we will get for free, one of them. A second gold deposit would be pretty handy, but not something we need to go too far out of our way for. I'm glad we have time to think about it. The one thing that I am looking at is titanium deposit up to the north. So that is definitely going to fill a hole in our needs. And I'm not seeing any other titanium. So that might be what we end up doing. This unit still has some movement left. So yeah, we'll just move to there. Because of this ridge, I'm not sure, can I get, okay, I can't get down. This is a step here, so we can get over here and regroup these armies together, which I think we'll probably do. That will increase our dust a little bit, and maybe allow us to move that population pip off of dust. I just want to stay barely positive right now, so we are accruing some money that we can use later. Alright. And since our units aren't in any danger, we don't need to queue up those orders in the same way. Alright, we found red. Okay, so this faction has a very powerful scout unit called the Skyfin. It's a support unit with a ton of health, very hard to bring down. And it basically can run around and like siphon resources off of other players. It's not something you generally want to fight early on. But yeah, that's good to know that we have an Alaye player. They're indifferent to us, and that came from the south, it looked like, so he's probably down here somewhere, because I'm pretty sure that came up like this. Alright, we're almost to turn 10. We can go ahead and search this now. Even if you get nothing from your search, you still gain XP, so that's important. And then we need to kind of book it down here. We need to talk to these guys and then grab this. And that will also give us vision of this last little bit of our starting territory. And then probably sweep back around this way so we can uncover the rest of this tile, because I am still considering this to be one of the better spots for another city. Also, the Gildaris could be a really good military unit to fill a hole in a need that we have, which is cavalry. Alright, Mill Foundry in one turn. We're going to overflow into the settler, which means I don't want anybody on food, because food, when you're building a settler, gets tied up. We're 2 turns away. We should almost wait the 2 turns before we work on the settler, because we won't get any growth. Maybe I do that. We'll get a little bit of work on this. Yeah. And actually we're +7 now, so I can actually move that over there and make that a little bit faster even. Okay. All right, how long is it going to take us to get Mill Foundry? That's real tough. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the settler here, we're going to buy out the Mill Foundry, and we're going to get the settler in probably 5 turns. So maybe we can stick that in front of it. We don't really need the settler in 5 turns. We need it close to turn 20. I want to have a little bit of time to get him in position, but we're not going to set our city down until turn 20. This should work pretty well. Unfortunately, that used all of our money, and I won't be able to upgrade our military, which I kind of wanted to do, but it's not critical. Alright. We want to get to that spot, so let's get moving. And then I probably have enough dust to do that. I like to put the improved vision on her too. But that's going to be a little bit too expensive, I think. So we'll just do the bow. Alright, so we got 3 workers. That brings this down to, so we'll have this up by turn 16. That's pretty good. And then we'll have the Alchemist Furnace in 4, so we can start getting our glass steel deposits up and running. Before we get those finished though, we really want to get our quest started, because one of the early quest tasks that you have to do, I believe, is build 2 strategic deposits. And if you build them before you get the quest, you have to find 2 new ones. So ones you've already built don't count towards the quest, which is semi-annoying. Alright, that extra movement coming in handy here. Get here, we'll do a parlay, and then it's down to this tile, which probably will take us 2 turns, maybe 3. Okay, blue's kind of playing around our territory there. We're probably thinking of settling this region. This region had Jodis. I'm not super concerned about that. Bring back 8 titanium for pacification. We'll get 15 titanium when we complete our quest, but we won't complete our quest without pacifying somebody. Alright, looks like we're going to get a dust eclipse. We got aqua ballistics for free. And we failed this quest probably because the ardent mages are up here murdering everybody, and so all of the villages, including the one that we got a quest from, were wiped out by the ardent mages. Looks like this is just water for the last few tiles. I do have enough money to grab that vision, but then we're like really on the edge, the ragged edge there. I'm not sure if it's really time to start another burrow. We'll have the alchemist furnace up in 2 turns, so we'll have it ready to go before we finish this, so that's good. Alright. Let's see if we could get... I think this is it, right? Yeah, +4 movement. So this will be very helpful for us. 15 wine. Alright, we can get 2 of these this turn. And then we can get mostly back to that one or to that one. I guess we'll just go towards this one and then maybe bounce back to this one and then up to that one. That seems the best way to go about doing that. Hero's leveled up again. I'm going to go for another point of movement because it's so valuable. We did get that wine, and the Empire plan is imminent. The wine booster could really help out right now, but it would help out even more if I waited a few turns until we dropped our first city. And as long as I remember to pop this booster before we drop the city, I think I'm going to pop it now. I don't want to be running negative dust. It's also going to improve our output on most of our other resources. So by going to Fervent, you can see we're getting an extra 10 industry, 6 science, almost 9 dust, and we'll be getting some more food too as soon as we get the settler built in 2 turns. Alright, so we get to there. And now we're at +7 dust per turn, so we might actually be able to afford some upgrades. Let's go ahead and edit. Let's get just the basics. Yeah. So we can grab that. We'll probably fight this battle now that we've upgraded our units, because I can retrofit these guys. And then I do have enough to give her the sight trinket, which I think I will, because sight is pretty valuable. And yeah, let's keep on trucking along here. Alright, what do we got next? Let's come back to research after we get some of these other things done. So first thing I want to do is grab that for some more dust. We're 1 shy. It looks like some type of quest army has popped up. I know we want to get both of these glass steel deposits up ASAP. This settler can actually wait to be finished. Let's get these up first. Otherwise, we're just going to be paying for them because I'm not going to drop them until turn 20. That's the only way that we're going to maximize our chance to get a decent empire plan. And looking at it right now, we have 5 turns at 2 apiece, so that's 10 more points. So we'll be at 32 in 10 turns. Or we could be at 42. That sounds more reasonable. That gives us two empire plan bonuses instead of 1. So we're really trying to min-max as much as we can here in this early game. This is kind of the most important time to min-max. The other thing is, now that we've got that settler off, we're actually getting an extra 4 food for being fervent. So, and we don't want to construct settlers. Anytime you can buy out settlers, they're really expensive, but you don't stall out your growth unless your industry is really, really high. It can be beneficial if you have the dust income to just buy them out, especially once you have the discounts for units. And we haven't selected that research because I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. So we're getting very, very close to winter. Before winter is over, I'm going to want the cultivation building up and quickly. So we want to get this researched and then get it built over the course of the winter, so that as soon as winter is over, we're taking advantage of, let's go back to that page, the plus 10 food on city during summer. If we were to build it before the first winter, we would miss out on that entire winter with no effect, and the opportunity cost of doing that versus doing other things that don't lose their effect in the winter is not worth it. So I would never build this particular food building in the very early game, except in maybe some dire circumstances where you just have no food at all, and you really need food for some reason. I would always try to finish this building during the winter, so that as soon as you come out of the winter, you're taking full effect of it. That's a good time to get it built, in my opinion. And the main reason that we want this isn't so much for the seed storage, it's more for the husbandry center, which will allow whatever city you build that in to grow very, very quickly. And I generally build this in my capital if I have a decent sized region, but if I don't, I'll save that building for a region that can accommodate a much larger city. But we already showed that I can do something like 16 boroughs. That's plenty. And we could do a lot more than that, but to maximize efficiency, you could do 16 in the stick shape. So that's what we'll do. So now we can go ahead and end our turn. Alright. So let's go here first. It says we can parlay with these guys. Before we parlay with them, what was the quest for them? They wanted us to go to the Ursur village. Right? Yeah. why is it saying that I can parlay with them? Okay, it's just there. Let's just kill them. They're not going to be able to beat us. Not with a hero, and not with our upgrades. They're pretty mediocre ranged units. They do have a few cool tricks, but yeah, that was pretty simple. And then we can get almost there. We can actually get in another fight. The problem is these are cavalry units, and cavalry units are a hard counter to archer units. And so they're not something you typically want to fight unless you either outnumber them or you could get your city involved and use your militia to sort of block. These guys are ready to assimilate. That would trigger our quest and give us the 15 titanium, but I don't really want to do that, I don't think. And our unit's leveled up, which is good. The one unit is slightly injured, but I'm not too worried about it. We're going to try and get both of these next turn. There's also one over here that I didn't really notice earlier that we could grab. It might be faster to grab this and then grab that. But I think we can avoid the trees either way. Cultivation in 3 turns. Money's growing again ever so slowly, mostly from searching ruins. And we just ran out of time. That's unfortunate. And now we have another quest army in our territory. Now this army we probably can defeat, especially if I can get them close enough to the city. Yeah, we'll get our militia for this fight. So this is guaranteed win, basically. I could play it out because I am a little concerned that our Marine might take damage, but I don't think we'll lose it even if he does. Yeah, and it looks like just this militia took a little bit of damage, so we're fine. The reason for that is these units are very slow. They have a very, very slow combat speed, and so that allows you to kite them a little bit. And just ranged units against slow units are pretty devastating. If they do get into combat with you, they can be problematic, but... Okay, so now we gotta decide what we're doing with this army since we're not grabbing the dust deposits. And I think what we're gonna do with this army is move it back this way and try to parlay with these Gilderas and finish uncovering this region, because I think this is the next region we grab. I kind of wish I had scouted this a little bit better, because that gold deposit would be handy, but okay. So we got one of these done. The settler I can buy out, or can kind of squeeze just one more thing in there. That's gonna take too long. What if we... It's only 43 dust to buy it out. But I don't really need to buy it out, and I don't really need the Jodas up faster than that. Alright, let's estimate how many turns do I need to get to my spot. I probably only need 1, maybe 2 turns. So we don't want to spawn this guy till turn 19. So we'll do 1 more turn of this, get him almost finished, and then we'll just buy out the last little bit when we're ready to get him built on turn 18. I guess that's next turn though, right? Okay, so maybe that is the right timing. Yeah, that'll work. We're about to hit winter. And so one of my big goals, we're making 4 a turn. In 2 turns, we'll be able to pop our first booster, and that will triple the output during winter. If we can get that done before winter starts, we'll go through the entire winter gathering like 12 glass steel per turn, and we'll have a nice large deposit of glass steel that we can use to outfit our military units with, or build buildings with, whatever we decide to do with them. The first 20 turns of every game of Endless Legend is all about scouting your territory and your neighboring territories. The second 20 turns in Endless Legend is all about getting your military established. You must have at least a stack of 4 before turn 40. If you don't, you're just going to get steamrolled. And even with a stack of 4, you may need to build more than that. I think we ended up having a total of 6 military units, but I disbanded a couple because they were so injured it was just not worth keeping them around to heal them in the last game. So it is doable. You can get a pretty good sized stack, or a couple smaller stacks, or whatever. But okay, how are we going to get over there? It's suggesting the fastest route is like that, so I guess that's how we'll do it. Alright, so we're gonna lose out on 2 turns of bonus gathering. Okay. We don't really have the dust for the hero, nor do we have the dust income. We need 2 more technologies to move up a tier, and we're about to build our second city, which is going to give us a small hit to our approval. So that building is almost definitely a must. Empire Mint could also be good. The question is, which one am I likely to build first of the 2? Probably the Empire Mint and then the sewer. Okay. Let's take it a little slower in case we happen to see pearls like this. And we can grab the pearls that we're able to grab. We'll zip from here or back around that way probably. Alright, so this guy should be built. Ooh. I don't know if I want to waste a turn stepping over there, but that's a lot of pearls. How many is that? 6 of them. Oof. Yeah. I have enough dust that I could outfit this guy with a trinket that would give him additional movement. I can also attach my hero to it, which will give him 2 additional movement. So I think we're going to do that instead. That's the cheaper of the 2 strategies. Unfortunately, by doing that, I sort of goofed up. Because my hero has already moved this turn, I should have moved that unit first and then attached my hero. So, sort of messed up that play. Well, this will be done soon, but I guess that's fine. We don't need that anymore. We only need 2 more points, so that'll put us at exactly 40. Yeah, that's because... Actually, I can still... Yeah, I can't... detach the hero because she's out of movement. I was gonna say, I think I can still detach the settler from the squad, but not unless there's another unit there. Okay, well, that's the end of that turn then. So we're at turn 20, and we've got our first booster and our empire plan. So we're going to do this right away. Also, this booster, which... I don't know. Should I go ahead and just pop it now? We're going to be a little bit delayed on dropping our city. I think that's fine. Okay, so now we get 2 of these. We're definitely going to be building military units, so I'm definitely going to grab that. And then the science will just help us accelerate a little bit on our research into tier 2. Alright, we're definitely going to grab those pearls because that's worth XP for our hero. And then we're going to get almost to the tiles I want to, and I'll just have to wait till next turn to finish it. But I think we're probably going to still go there. Before we make that final decision, though, we can scout just a little bit more and see if there's anything better on turn 21. A lot of anomalies over here too. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to go back this way because that's the only way to get to this village. Okay, once we get into this region, we can then use this button here to see what this looks like. Remember, food and dust capacities are reduced during winter, so that they won't be quite as bad once summer comes back around. Yeah, this is probably the best spot over here, but it's going to take too many turns to get there. And it doesn't have the approval this spot has. Yeah. This is also really close to our other city, which has benefits strategically. So let's go ahead and put that down there. And then she might have some movement left. Yeah. Get her just a little closer and we'll tie her back up with these guys momentarily. Now that this is done, let's get Mill Foundry and Seed Storage and Public Library in that order. I might end up doing something a little different once the Mill Foundry is completed. And I can move this population pip and still stay positive on food. That can be difficult in some situations in the wintertime, and it will give you negative growth, but we're still going to have slight positive growth. It's just going to be very slow through the rest of the winter here. And then this city, we want to get this done quickly, and then we want to start working on Marines. Before we start building Marines, I would like to hit the next tier of this pool, so hopefully we can get these done pretty quickly. This is only going to take 2 turns, and I guess one thing I could do, since we're not in a hurry to get those things done, is I can move that over and see if that shaves any time off. It doesn't seem like it's going to shave much off. So maybe it's not worth doing. Well, it might be for the next one, though. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Because it's not shaving a turn off of seed storage to have them working there anyways. So, and then we just got another population pip. That was from the Jodas camp getting finished, not from our population growth. Common frontier. We need to start negotiating with these guys as quickly as possible. We can't do that until we get a research in tier 2, I believe. But one of the things that's really cool about ELCP is the way that the computer will respond accurately to diplomatic events. And so if you do diplomatic favors or trade with another faction, they will actually come to your aid in some cases. You can develop like really tight partnerships in ELCP where the AI is just not... The diplomatic game is very insufficient in the vanilla game. It's way better and a real treat to have like true allies and enemies, alliances. Like it really feels like you're playing kind of with real people in a sense. All right. Let's just go ahead and move these guys there. We'll move her here. And then into that army. So next turn, they'll get the bonus movement. And it's still going to take them a couple turns to get over here and talk to these guys. But we'll eventually get that done. Empire Mint will be done in 1 turn. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape. I'm feeling a lot better not having all the lava around. At least my military army isn't completely dismantled. Somebody just beat us to tier 2, but only by 2 turns. So we're basically second in the race for tier 2. Also, I didn't take a look at this. Ooh. So we're at 5 of 30. I'm not sure if we're going to get this or not. It would be nice to get a large stack of emeralds, but yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to do much with that. Okay, what do we want to start building next? I could build the Empire Mint, but I think I'm gonna. We want 2 turns. Okay. Can I move all these off? Not without. Do I need all 3 of them? I only need 2 of them to get this in 2 turns. This is fine. Alright. You guys do your moving around. Get past those cliffs. So get back here and talk to these guys. And actually, we could probably just fight them. If we fight them from one of these 2 locations, our garrison will contribute, and that will provide us the defense that we need. So these guys don't just tear our archers to pieces. One of the reasons that I stick to the shield instead of just going straight to bows on most of these units at the beginning of the game is because until you get true frontline units for your armies, using the shields is probably the safer bet. They're just a little bit better in melee with those shields and crossbows than they would be with regular bows. She's kind of an exception because she's a hero and she's so tough. She's really hard to bring down, so having the extra defense isn't that important, but the extra damage on her is pretty noticeable. And notice, I sure hope that the winter lasts a couple more turns, because one of the things about the Vaulters that's different than other factions is they actually benefit from the winter in a lot of ways. They have this amazing effect on their strategics where whichever one they've selected as the holy resource gets triple gathering. So starting with 2 of the same can be a real boon, like we've made it here, where we were able to actually pop this during first winter. A lot of times you will not be able to accelerate your collection of these materials fast enough to get it during the first winter, but it's imperative that you get it during the second winter for whichever one you want to really use to outfit your armies. And by second winter, you should have the resources and the gold to upgrade your military units with strategics. If you don't, you're kind of doing something wrong. But we're going to be able to do it even sooner than that, hopefully. We're getting a ton of this compared to every other faction in the game. Is there anything else I need to focus on? Not really. Yeah. As soon as I say I hope winter lasts a couple more turns, it immediately ends. Oh, my luck is something else. Okay, so we have choices now. We can head over here, fight these guys, grab this, and then come back, or we could do this first. Let's do it this way. Ooh. I'm liking what I see here. Here, read that again. Produce 5 of food, industry, science, dust, and influence in your city for a period of 5 turns. So until we get some population growth, we really don't have any way of doing this. Which makes me think, let's just get the XP fighting these guys. We'll get the garrison. It'll be fine. These units actually excel against cavalry, so that's good to know. Using cavalry to siege is not a good idea, and we can actually move back. This guy will probably attack us, which is fine. I think we're still in range of that city. If we're not, we'll probably still be okay, but we'll take some damage. And now might be a good time to do this. We don't quite have the influence yet, but we'll get it soon. Alright, so we just lost a big amount of approval, which is unfortunate, and we have no wine income. We do have gold income, but the one thing that I said I liked what I saw was this dye deposit. Dye is one of my favorite early game strategic deposits, or luxury deposits, I mean. And it's because it provides 50% bonus to influence. And what that allows you to do is you can stack a whole bunch of units on here for a couple of turns and make a ton of influence. And then move them off after the boosters run its course. So I'm definitely going to grab that at some point. I don't know. I don't know how fast I want to do it. It's going to take a long time to get the amount of dye we need to actually pop a booster. So the sooner we get this built, the better. But it's literally going to tank my entire economy, and I need to build dust if I'm going to retrofit my military units with the fancy glass steel versions of their weapons and armor. Alright, this should put us into a new era. So one of the reasons I didn't want to start building military units until now is when you move from one research era to the next, your military units improve. Their base stats improve, their base level improves, they're just better units. Now the flip side of that is they cost more to produce, which kind of sucks. So it would have been cheaper and fewer turns to get those other units out, but they weren't going to be as good, and we couldn't outfit them as good as we're going to outfit these ones. We did get attacked by these guys, no surprise there, and we did murder them pretty easily. Our hero took a fair amount of the damage, and we took a little damage on this one, but we shouldn't be getting in a fight. Shouldn't be getting in another fight right away, so we'll probably be alright. Okay, not a very useful thing for us right now. Oh my, look at this. 3 cities all right here. This is actually really bad. This isn't as bad as it could be. I really don't like it when the AI settle right on the border like that. I mean, I guess we kind of did, but there are times when the AI, especially in vanilla, would like settle in a corner like this and miss out on like 4 tiles of production and just completely tank that tile. This whole region would be garbage unless you burned the city to the ground, which was not easy to do with a lot of factions. The AI in ELCP is smarter than that, and they generally will not take a position that blocks tiles like we did here, unless maybe it's the very best tile that they're able to get to, which is what we found. Was there wasn't a better tile than that one, so that's why we ended up there. I did make another level, so we'll just continue up that tree. Gives us a little bit more vision, and we're still waiting on some movement points to grab those pearls, but we did jump into this. So I've got a couple of options here. Decisions. So we can jump straight to alchemical alloys. This would give us glass steel weapons. I could also get alchemical armor. I tend to favor alchemical armor significantly over alchemical alloys, at least for this faction. And it's because it just makes your characters, your military units, a lot tougher. But also because you usually can equip a trinket on your hero, which will improve the damage of all of your units. And so the bonus damage that you're missing from this is slightly offset by the damage trinket. So you get damage and survivability with this technology, but with this technology you really only get damage. The shields are pretty inconsequential in comparison to the regular shields that you can build. they're not a serious improvement in any way. And so really the only thing that is an improvement is the weapons. Now the weapon damage, particularly for titanium weapons, is insanely better than the standard weapons that we can build. But how quickly am I going to be ready for that? Does it make sense to build anything else? Top picks for me in this tier, as soon as you unlock it, Glory of the Empire is always good, especially if you're using a lot of influence or you want to do good empire plans. Depending on how fast you're growing, Central Market can be good. I would always build sewers before Central Market. Now can actually be a good time to go back and grab your cavalry units if you want to diversify your army a little bit. Industry is always beneficial, but it requires titanium in order to build it, but this could help accelerate the building production of your units. The problem is you have to build these buildings before you get the advanced building production, and right now during these next 20 turns, or at least 15 that we have left, we really need to be focusing on getting military units out. We can't really be building a lot of buildings, at least until after we've gotten the military units out. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards either grabbing something like Dawn Officers or getting the alchemical alloys so we can actually use all of this delicious glass steel. Things that I would avoid, at least right away. There's almost nothing really bad in this tree. Everything is fairly useful. But things that people get attracted to that I would tend to avoid are meritocratic promotion. This actually makes your armies more expensive even when you don't have more units in them. So it's not a great thing to get right away. Also, there are strategies around using your reinforcement slots to basically act like you have two armies, even when you don't. And hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that. In order to do that, maybe we do pick up Dawn Officers now, and then get alchemical armor next. How many turns is that going to take? 5. That's only going to take 4. Let's do that, since we're kind of in a hurry. This city's going to build 2 Marines, but before we build those Marines, we're going to edit the Marine design, and we're going to upgrade all of his gear to Tier 2. And I am going to go ahead and keep the shields and the crossbows for now. I'm also going to skip the trinket. Trinkets are super expensive and are very much... there are very few units that really require trinkets. They're kind of a luxury item if you can afford it later in the game when your economy is really high. If you do have a really strong economy and you can't afford it, they're definitely beneficial. But they're not something that we want right now. So these Marines are pretty expensive. It's going to take 13 turns as it is to build them the way we have our stuff stacked up. But because we don't really need the science anymore, I'm going to move most of these over here, and that's going to cut it down to 9 turns. In addition to that, we still want to build the 2 Dawn Officers, and it's going to take 5 turns to get them unlocked, and then we'll have to outfit those guys. Now, these buildings would be really handy to have because of our approval hit, we're all the way down to 50. 20 is going to push us up to 70 and push us up to a threshold that increases all of these numbers by a small amount. It's also going to give us extra influence. How many turns is it going to take? If I move it here, it only takes 3 turns. I think I'm going to push this back. This will give us a little bit more industry, which may actually make up for the fact that we're delaying these a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And then over here, the mill foundry will be done next turn. This city is happy because we are getting the bonus from the anomaly. So I'm not too worried about that one. So we don't need to rush this. Seed storage would be nice, but I think I am actually going to move the dye extractor up. And again, we're not going to buy it out, but we'll just build it really quick, especially once the mill foundry is done. I am going to go also add this into the queue and probably even move it ahead of the other 2 base buildings, and then we'll throw that in the back end. So all that stuff will get done eventually. And we're going to get another population pit. Maybe I just leave those over here too. Oof. Maybe not. We want to get these done as fast as possible. Once this base buildings are done, the city's pretty much positive on everything, including dust for a little while. So we should be fine. The extra influence would be nice, though. The thing is, all we get is this building right now. The only thing it would provide us is 1 point of influence per turn. Yeah, that's not worth it. Let's get everything else built first. Looks like we are going to get aggressive with these guys here very soon. Alright. Let's get that, and then... How hurt are we? We're in kind of hurt. We're kind of hurt, but I can afford to retrofit these units, so now they're significantly tougher than they were. We should be able to manage that. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, a little more XP. If we blitz these guys here, we might be able to take them out. I really just need a few things to go my way here, but in the next few turns we also need to start thinking about getting another settler out. But actually, if we go to war, maybe we don't, because we'll just take over their territory and avoid the cost of settling. Plus they have glass, steel, and dye. I like glass, steel, and dye. The question is, do I scout their territory? They haven't closed their borders to me yet, have they? We do not have closed borders yet. Okay. We do want to try to maybe give them a warning a few turns before we declare war, and that will make declaring war cheaper. The other thing that would be helpful is if we did get this done, and then we're able to run a die booster, which we're not even collecting die yet. So the answer to that is no. I haven't put any turns into this yet, have I? We have. I kind of forgot that we had the Gilderos we could use. I got excited about showing the cavalry trick. We'll save our... What do these guys have? That's more Jonas. Hopefully this region has a better miners faction. Yeah, that was probably suboptimal. I probably should have just built the armor. Alright, Erkin will be coming out of the ground very soon. We can sneak over here, search that, and maybe scout out where their city is. Oh crap, they just got a third city. Well, Sisters of Mercy. Yeah, another unit that we're not really excited about. So we're 9 turns away from getting these two done. Die extractor will be online next turn. So there's their city. And they have titanium. So it's going to take us from this tile 1, 2 turns. They're always going to know we're coming. That kind of sucks. But we could attack from here as well. If I cut back here... Yeah, let's cut back this way for now. And the harness, is that that? Yeah. Okay. There's nothing too exciting there. We're getting these guys built. It is happening at pretty much the same rate. We're getting an extra 5, so we went from no bonus to 5.5 extra industry per turn. So that's not nothing. Plus we're getting the extra influence per turn. So building that sewer system in this region is much more valuable than doing it in the other one, where the only advantage we would get at this time would be the extra influence. Eventually that will not be the case. Eventually we'll lose enough approval for that to be a useful building, but right this second it's not. Winter is getting close. We're probably also going to get another dust eclipse. Let's get our military out of there. We've scouted as much as we need to for the moment. I kind of want to be down here in case they get aggressive with us. We have been trespassing in their territory, so to speak. This puts us back in our territory. And that means I can upgrade her equipment, which I forgot to do when we did the retrofit on these guys. Dawn officers in 1 turn. Right. This is something that I need to keep remembering to do occasionally, and that is pop our booster. What that's going to do is give us... let's go with that one. Is give us positive dust. We're 10 turns away from an Empire plan. Normally, when I get about 10 turns away from an Empire plan, I want to start building my settler, and I want to settle right around the turn I make the Empire plan so that I can get the cheaper rate on more cities. But one other thing that's important to note. When you upgrade to the higher tier things, as you're going through it, if you upgrade to tier 2 and then to tier 3, moving from tier 2 to tier 3 is cheaper than moving from tier 0 to tier 3. So one strategy that you can use depending on how your economy is working out is you can build units with no gear, just pull all the gear off of them, and then buy the gear onto them. And what that allows you to do is get units out faster if you have like low production. So if your production's really bad but you have decent dust, you can build really cheap units and then use your dust to outfit them, as opposed to using production to outfit them. It's a strategy that I use with some factions, sometimes even the Vaulters, if it makes sense to do so. This is that weird ridge, and it's just really a pain in the ass to get around because I got to go all the way down to here to get back up to here. But we do need to get back over here, so we're going to go down that way. We also kind of need to uncover this area just so we see what's down there. So it's probably not the end of the world. Alright, this unit is going to be built in 1 turn. If I build this unit, I will have extra defense in this city, but it will cost me additional upkeep per turn. And so I can actually shave a few coins by moving him to the back of the line. This is a very min-maxy thing to do. And so now for the next 3 turns, I won't be paying upkeep for a unit that's just basically going to sit in my garrison. So this is one little trick you can do when you're building large groups of units. The other thing is we now have Dawn officers ready to go. And I might try to squeeze a Dawn officer in this region. But before we do that, let's go ahead and edit their design and make sure that they are outfitted in tier 2. There are 2 weapons that the Dawn officer gets. One is an axe, which has range slayer, and the other is a 2-handed axe, which gets a higher value of range slayer. So these guys are really, really good at taking out archers. I like to use the 2-handed axe for the extra damage, but that does make them quite a bit squishier. Also, I know these guys don't particularly look like cavalry units, but they are considered cavalry units because they have power armor. So I know it doesn't look very powery, but yeah, these are like robotically enhanced exoskeleton suits that allow them to run and jump and move around the battlefield at incredible speeds. which gives them basically the cavalry designation. I gotta think about that. Since we don't really have a front line, maybe we do just give them shield and axe. Boy, it's so much more damage though. 15 to 21, it's like 50% more damage per hit. Or, sorry, 50% more attack. The damage is 8 versus 4, so it's double. Yeah, let's go with that. Don't forget your boots. And we will skip the trinket for now. Okay, so if I wanted to build... I'm going to have to take a phone call real quick. Alright, sorry for that delay. Where were we at? So, turn 30. I think we've already moved our units. I just need to click this button. Oh no, I was looking at where I was going to build these guys. So that's 8 turns and 11 turns. If I throw one of them over here, I can get one of these done in 7 turns. Yeah. Okay, so we can take one of these off of here. So I will have an entire stack of 4 and then a second stack of 2 in 8 turns or less. Yep, that'll work. So before turn 40, we'll have an army of 6. That might be enough to take this garrison. We'll have to see what kind of military they have. It could be more than we can handle with just 6 units and a hero. But if it's not, we're going to very quickly clean up all of these territories. Unfortunately, they've been very busy I guess this is all one territory. So they have 3 territories. They don't have 4 just yet, at least that we can see. Alright. Here comes the eclipse that I was just referencing earlier. That means we want to kind of set up... I gotta go around the long way. Oh yeah, we were going to scout down here anyways. Oh, there's another village here. Okay, well maybe we do want to... maybe we do want to recruit the Gilderis. Not so much to build the unit, but the bonus plus 5% damage per pacified village. That's a 15% bonus to our damage for only 30 influence. I think that is definitely worth it. That's also going to trigger our quest come next turn. So we're going to get 15 titanium, which will allow me enough titanium to outfit her with some much better gear if I wanted to. But more importantly, it'll give me the titanium I need to give her that trinket. Unfortunately, alchemical armor is going to take 6 turns. But actually, that's not terrible because 6 turns is exactly when our last military unit's going to be done. And that'll be the earliest we'll be able to recruit them anyways. So, moving forward, the thing that we need to really pay attention to and be careful of is we want to gather enough gold and enough glass steel to be able to retrofit all these units with new gear. In addition to that, we have what looks like Kapaku? What are these? They do look like Kapaku. Yeah, so we could have Kapaku nearby, and there's a pink faction here, we know who they are. Still haven't met green, and we think red is down here somewhere. Oh yeah, there's pink faction out there right next to Fakir. Okay, anything else I can do this turn? Doesn't look like it. So let's get this army on the roll. Got our titanium. Build 2 new strategic resources. Okay, she is now outfitted in Tier 2. I did not upgrade this trinket because the Tier 2 version of it does not improve vision. It only gives her a higher version of sharp sense. However, I didn't want her using crossbow and shield. I want her using the bow, which shouldn't cost me anything to do that. And then we can go ahead and finish these guys off, and we should annihilate these guys now. They'll still get some damage in, but not nearly as much because our weapons and armor are just way higher. We failed this quest because we killed all of their villages, which is fine. We'll need to rebuild these villages to get the full bonus. We should head this way, I think. Who did we find? Haunts. Haunts are pretty dangerous. I think we'll sneak into their territory, but we'll plan on getting out as quickly as possible. And we'll get over here. Or maybe just to there. Grab this one, grab that one. Maybe head over to that one. We'll see how many of these we can hit. We're getting close to being able to pop this booster again. It's going to cost a little bit more now because we have 2 villages instead of the 1, so it's 15 per booster. But that will also help our money situation in a couple turns. found a shield. Oh, it costs 7, we have 5. I was going to say, oh wow, that's the resource that we found. But we might find some more while we're searching the rest of these ruins, so that's a really good shield, actually. It can only be equipped on heroes, so this might be a situation where maybe we do give her the shield and the crossbow. 50 dust. Can get almost all the way over there. Right, so we should be able to get that one and maybe that one. Probably not that one. Before the end of this thing. Our army's also strong enough, especially with militia, to kill that, so if we end up near those guys, we should take them out. I don't know what quest that's for. It might not be for one of our quests, it might be for a quest that one of those other factions triggered. Turns till alchemical armor, and 3 turns till our military units are completed. Units have leveled up. 100 dust. Boy, this is definitely a good time for dust. Yeah, let's get most of the way there, and we can actually take a look at their military units. So we're looking at a level 1. He'll be level 2 very, very soon. His stats are going to improve quite significantly. We should see if we still have vision on him next turn. Because he'll gain 1 experience just for being on the map. Okay, good. Oh, he got it before I could get there. Well, I can still get over to this one. So. Right. And we'll get some pearls. I'm going to lose vision of those guys that I should have checked before. 85 dust. And some pearls. And Ursers. Looks like, is that a brown faction? Like, what's going on with that? I guess it's just brown because it's flashing. Yeah. So that's just an empty. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. That's weird. It flashes empty instead of with the color. Okay, we need to get back over here and pick up the rest of our military force. And then we can hopefully demonstrate how to use reinforcement slots. We can actually buy that out, but we're not. We're saving money. 2 turns till that is done. Enter. Yeah. Depending on where we attack this city from, we might actually be able to get both of our garrisons involved. Which is just bad news for them. Because I think... yeah, if we attack like from this angle, from this tile into that city, we will actually get both garrisons to participate with us. So that's the play. Alright, now can I accelerate this? I could. do I want to? I think the answer is yes. But I'm not sure how much it's going to cost us to upgrade all these guys. So I'm going to pass on it, just in case. I think we're going to go Husbandry Center next. This is going to allow us to build a building that's going to give us tons of food and allow us to grow our population really big, and then we can start building some borough districts in the next 20 turns and really get our capital city online. This will be done in one turn. Do any of these need to happen first? So we lost our happiness. I forgot to pop this last turn, so that should get it back. And it did there. Okay. Yeah, so we're fine. Back here. Alright. Now let's get this army out. And into that army. And then let's get this army out. And over here. Ooh, it just misses. So we're only going to get one of the two garrisons. That's still probably okay. We'll go to this tile. We probably should have done this a couple turns ago, but we need to give them a warning. That's going to reduce the cost. Unfortunately, we're just going to sit on our hands for a couple of turns. Put that in there. Alright, because I got that done, let's go ahead and, before I forget, let's get her army damage boost 2. Army damage boost 2 gives 10% damage to the army and plus 8 damage to the army. So a fair amount. Not a ton, but a little bit. And then equipment wise, we have two options. We could put her in all glass steel, which I think we have enough, but before I do, I'm just going to do this. We'll apply that for now. Let's go to the Marine, edit him out, and what does he look like with that? So that's 11. So it's going to be 44 to outfit each Marine with a full set of armor. And then the Dawn officers, it's going to be another 11, so 66. So we need 66 total in order to retrofit all of our stuff. However, it's going to be just slightly cheaper than that because each one of these technologies gives you a slight reduction in the cost. And so if you research a whole bunch of the same types of technologies, they actually semi-stack in a way that makes them a little cheaper to purchase them for your units. So now what are we going to build? Well, if we actually are successful in our war effort, our approval is going to take another pretty significant hit. So getting the approval building to fix that is probably next on the agenda. And actually, if I do build that, I probably want to build it here. That sucks. That water tile. I did not... That really is messing with my ability to build my city the way I wanted it. I mean, we can still do a lot of districts, but we just can't do the perfect stick or triangle that I wanted. Which means I'm not sure where I want to build this now. Probably there still. Alright. So we're still limited to 4 units per stack. We can get a little bit closer, but not a lot closer. This will be done in 1 turn. So we need 22 left over. So what else can I equip you with? I could equip you with... nope. What do we have? 4. I could equip you with one of these items. Percent attack. Her attack's pretty high. Versus... initiative, yeah. So let's, like, throw those boots on you. But for the other 2 pieces, we'll use... yeah. That's only going to cost 9. That should be good. So she's significantly improved now. It'd be even better if I could get her that shield, but that's not going to happen. Alright, the last Dawn officer is completed. We'll get him out and group him into this army, retrofit both of these dudes, and I don't want to take this city for a couple more turns, but I do want to be in position to take it quickly. Searcher ruins way over here on the other end of the world. That's not going to happen. What could be beneficial is getting these built. How quickly can I get any one of these built? or any 3 of these built. Not very quick at all. Each one of these is worth 5% extra damage on our military units. Which would be nice before we get in a fight. 30% attack. That would be nice too. I don't think we're going to get that. But I think we could easily crush this city. They only have a garrison of 2. We have 27. They're worried. We can't quite declare war on them yet, but we should be able to maybe next turn. Let's see. I want to do it after turn 40. Alright, so Empire plan time. We're only going to get one of these, if at all. We're not going to be building more military units, I don't think. If we do, it doesn't need to be necessarily accelerated. The dust could be important, but honestly the science is probably the most important thing to continue to boost. The Alayi got tactical training, that's unfortunate, we could have used that. So what we need to do is we need to move enough people to get to 40. So that's 8. That puts me at 41. That'll do it. So next turn I'll have 41. I can get my science. We can take this city quickly. They still only have 2 military units. They will have a full fortification bonus, but that shouldn't hinder us too much at all. They're just going to be the militia. Okay. We'll want to activate all of our boosters. This one we can hit in a couple turns, and we'll want to do that. And no, I can't declare war because I just spent all my influence on that. Alright, so how long is it going to take me to get to 27? 3 turns? What if I put everybody over here? 2 turns? Let's do that for 2 turns. Buy one of these out. Or I could buy that out. Or I could buy that out. Actually, buying that out with the bonus that we just took for our Empire plan kind of makes more sense. Construction. Oh, here comes our army. Let's take a look at their military units. So this is actually a level 3 now. Or no, 3rd design. Level 2. So like 60, 50, 30, 50 versus our units, which are 70, 90, 40, 60, and 40, 70, 60, 30. What is this classed as, an infantry? Okay, so we don't have infantry slayers, so that doesn't really help us. And we are still waiting one more turn for that. Alright, that should be enough. 33. Yes. Let's get this show on the road. Yeah, there we go. Declare war. Alright, we're going to move you right there. And start sieging. We're going to move you right there. And we have only 6 fortification damage? No, okay. 25 fortification damage. We could go ahead and take some time to whittle away their fortifications and make them a little easier to kill. But I don't think we need to. I think we can just attack. We severely outnumber them, and we have our reinforcements. I tempted to manual this one just to show you guys the battle, but on the other hand, this is not much of a battle, so why? Yeah, like that wouldn't have been much fun to watch, and it would have just taken a lot longer. Alright, so the one thing it would have allowed me to do is demonstrate my little trick. So here's how this works. Most heroes have 2 reinforcement slots, which means you really don't need that technology here until you're ready to run armies larger than 6 units. And the reason for that is, with your hero and your 2 reinforcement slots, you actually act like a 6-stack army. You take up 2 tiles, and you have to kind of move in tandem, but you actually have a lot more flexibility in the way that you scout, so you have better vision. And if you use cavalry, because cavalry have really high initiative and really, really good movement, even if they start as reinforcements and they come in staggered, so let's say I have a stack of 4 cavalry. I will get 2 cavalry on the first turn, move those into the battle in front of my units, and then I'll get 2 more in the second turn, and I can move them, but they're so fast, they're easily able to get into the battle quickly, where a lot of infantry units are really slow, and so bringing them in as reinforcements kind of sucks, especially if it's a battle that draws out to like 6 full turns. You have them trickle in, it's not any good. So there are also heroes that actually have more reinforcement slots or can level up to get more reinforcement slots, and so that can be really powerful as well. So those technologies that give you larger armies are really not as necessary as they might seem at first. Larger armies are definitely good. They're definitely better, and it allows you to deploy them in a little bit more the way you want, but not utilizing your reinforcement slots is a mistake. You should generally do that. And one of the things, if you can afford it, even if you have like a stack of 4, is run them in 2 and 2 and just keep them close together, but you can cover more territory for scouting purposes, for searching ruins and parlaying, and they act just like an army of 4 as far as you're concerned when you get in a fight, especially if you run a homogeneous group of units, because it really doesn't matter which ones end up on the reinforcement tiles. If they're all the same units, you're going to get your 4 units in your fight no matter what. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Unfortunately, I didn't get to show that off, but I hope that this was a little bit better showing of what we're capable of doing with the Vaulters in the early game of Endless Legend with the ELCP mod on hard difficulty. This game looks like it's going to be a win for us just because I'm very clearly going to run through the rest of their territories. Notice they are expanding still, though. We probably are going to need to build a second army just so we have something to defend, because I can't really take this out here and risk having them bring an army in and just take this stuff back. So we're going to have to build another army before we get too much more aggressive with them. But because of the buffs that we're about to get, offensively from this, we should have no problem doing that. And honestly, we could go right to here, take this city out, and see if we can draw their army into a fight, or at least find them. And this is where having the expanded vision is really, really helpful. Being able to see armies just one tile sooner can be the difference between knowing where you need to be and being there a turn late. So, but yeah, I think all in all, this game went a lot better, and I might play this again for you guys tomorrow night for a little bit, just to see if we can finish this first faction off and get pretty strong and set up for the late game against whatever other players are left. So look forward to that. If you are enjoying, let me know in the comments, give it a like, and I'll keep playing. If I don't get a lot of views and I don't get any likes or any comments, I'll probably just make this another one-off and consider doing something else, maybe playing a different faction or doing something a little different. So until next time, this has been the Nose Plays, and you guys have a